The 20th word is apogee. Apogee means the highest point or climax. The synonym is zenith, and the antonym is nadir. In historical narratives, Clat uses this word to summarize the peak of events, the epitome, the climax. So, an example is the reform movement reached its apogee during the 20th century. So, what does this mean? That the movement reached its peak in the 20th century. It's zenith. Now, let us discuss the word abolish. The word abolish comes from the Latin root abolescen, abolescere, which means to destroy. Abolish means to formally end a system or practice. The synonym of abolish is eliminate, while its antonym is establish. Now, in legal reform passages that you may face in CLAT, this word is extremely important because it helps you analyze arguments for change, especially when laws, systems, or practices are being questioned. Now, observe this example carefully. The amendment sought to abolish outdated discriminatory laws. Here, the focus is on ending something officially, not informally. Remo- Now, remember this word whenever the passage discusses removal of unjust or obsolete practices. The next word is accord. This word comes from the Latin roots ad, meaning to, and core, meaning heart. Ad core, accord, to heart. An accord is an official agreement or treaty. The synonym is agreement, and the antonym is discord. In diplomatic texts, this word helps you understand consensus viewpoints, especially between nations or conflicting parties. Let's look at this example. The peace accord ended decades of conflict between nations. So, this sentence clearly shows how an accord brings resolution and mutual consent to the equation. So, as accord visible, there seems to be a lag in my screen. Uh, I hope accord is visible. So now let's discuss word 23, acknowledged. The word has its origin in Old English and it derives its basic foundational meaning as to recognize. To acknowledge means to accept or admit truth. The synonym is admit and the antonym is deny. In narrative confessions, this word plays a very crucial role in making inferences about responsibility. Now, let's notice the example. The defendant refused to acknowledge his role in this scam. Here, the refusal to acknowledge suggests denial of responsibility, which is a key inference point in Platt passages. So here, he refused to admit his role in the scam. Next is the word adversary. It comes from the Latin roots ad, meaning to, and vertere, meaning to turn. An adversary is an opponent in conflict. The synonym is foe and the antonym is ally. In legal disputes, this word helps you contrast opposing parties. The prosecutor viewed the defense as a formidable adversary. This sentence, this sentence clearly positions the defense as a strong opponent, meaning in courtroom context. Now we can examine allege. The word comes from Latin, and to allege means to claim without proof. The synonym is assert, while the antonym is retract. This word frequently appears in accusation passages where Clat tests your ability to judge the validity of claims. Read this example very carefully. The plaintiff alleged fraud in the business transaction. Notice how that the alleged word is used here. Recognize that alleged does not mean proven, it simply means claimed. Next is the word amend. It comes from Latin as well. To amend means to make changes for improvement. The synonym is revise and the antonym is maintain. In constitutional text, this word is essential for summarizing revisions. The bill was amended to include stronger protections. This shows how the bill was used to improve existing laws. Now let's just understand anomaly. This word originates from Greek. An anomaly is a deviation from the norm. The synonym is irregularity and the antonym is norm. In scientific essays, this word is used to highlight exceptions. Now observe this example. The data showed an anomaly that challenged the pre-existing theory. Here, the anomaly forces a re-examination of assumptions. So what has been previously accepted as a dogma needs to be re-examined because this anomaly has showed up. It has challenged pre-existing viewpoints. Now we come to apathy. Apathy means lack of interest. The synonym is indifference, while the antonym is concern. In social issue discussions, this word helps infer public disengagement. You see, now you can look at the example. Voter apathy led to low turnout in the elections. This shows how lack of interest directly affects democratic participation. The voters were disillusioned and therefore they never turned up to vote in the elections. Next is the word arbitrary. It comes from the Latin word arbitrium, meaning judgment. Arbitrary means based on whim and not reason. The synonym is capricious and the antonym is systematic. In governance critiques and in passages describing governance, this word helps analyze unfair decisions. Now, read the example carefully. The arbitrary arrest violated human rights standards. This usage of the word arbitrary here, highlights lack of rational justification, which is crucial for legal reasoning. Because how will you impart justice without rational justification, without uh, predetermined laws, without predetermined conviction? So we have covered till word 29. And before moving on, I just wanted to ask whether it's clear. And I know it's a recorded class, but I hope it's clear. There is no means of communication between me as the teacher and you as the listener or the student, but I hope it's clear. I have compiled about 100 words that have a high probability of being asked in the Clat examination and have been compiled in such a way that they are probable of being asked. So the words given here are they will give you a basic foundation, a basic uh, philosophy to go by to approach vocabulary in the English section in class. And word 30, yes. So now let's understand obstinate. The word comes from Latin ob, meaning against, and stare, meaning stand. Obstinate means stubbornly refusing to change. The synonym is intransigent, and the antonym is compliant. In character narratives, this word helps contrast persistence. Now, the example is his obstinate refusal delayed the negotiation process. This shows how rigidity can obstruct progress. The next word is gigantic. Gigantic means enormous in size. The synonym is colossal and the antonym is tiny. In descriptive passages, this word is used for scale comparisons. This ship was gigantic. Example, the gigantic dam project altered the river's course. So what it says is that the dam's construction, the dam's dimensions were so large that it was gigantic. So an example of this in real life would be the Three Gorges Dam, which is so gigantic that it is able to affect Earth's gravitational field. Now here, size directly connects to impact. The next word is stupendous. It comes from the Latin word stupere, meaning to be stunned. Stupendous means astonishingly impressive. It doesn't mean stupid, it means incredible, astonishingly impressive. The synonym is amazing, and the antonym is ordinary. Now, in essays, in passages where Clat describes some sort of achievement, this word summarizes extraordinary feats. An example is the stupendous victory boosted national morale. This shows how emotional and how collective the impact of the achievement was. It was able to bind the nation together. It was a stupendous victory, which means it was an incredible victory. The next word is verbose. It comes from the Latin word verbum, meaning word. Verbose means using more words than needed. The synonym is wordy and the antonym is concise. In writing critiques, this helps us understand inefficiency. So, an example is the verbose report obscured the key findings. This highlights how excess language can reduce clarity. Now, let us look at the word quip. It originates from the Latin word quippe, meaning indeed. A quip is a witty remark. The synonym is jest, and the antonym is serious statement. In dialogues, in casual passages, Clat uses this word to test humor comprehension. An example is that his quick quip lightened the tense atmosphere. This shows how humor affects tone. Now, what this means is that his quick and witty remark lightened the tense atmosphere. His jest, his comical remark, helped diffuse the situation. Okay, so the next word is obfuscate. It means, yes, I hope the word is visible. To obfuscate means to make unclear or confuse. The synonym is bewilder and the antonym is clarify. Now, in passages where there is a lot of legal jargon, legal terminology, this word helps infer intentional vagueness. So, example is the lawyer tried to obfuscate the facts with complex terms. This is a classic trap word. So, please be alert of this. It means to bewilder. It means to confuse a person. The next word is knave. This word comes from Old English and it means boy. So, knave is a dishonest person. The synonym is rogue and the antonym is honest. Now, you may have read a lot of moral tales, and in such tales, in such fables, this word contrasts ethics and deception. It creates this dichotomy. An example is the knave deceived the villagers with false promises. He fooled the villagers. The next word is nimble. It comes from Old English as well, and in Old English it means quick, nimble. Nimble means agile and quick. The synonym is dexterous and the antonym is clumsy. In narratives of action packed scenes, this word describes agility of movement as well as dexterity. An example is the nimble thief evaded capture in the crowded market. The next word is propinquity. It comes from the Latin word of propinquus, meaning near. Propinquity means proximity or closeness. The synonym is nearness and the antonym is distance. The relationship essays that you may face in Clat. Haven't you heard of terms like long distance relationship? So, propinquity means closeness in relationship. So, this word helps infer influences due to closeness. Propinquity fostered alliances between neighboring states. As you may have heard the saying, you can choose your enemies, but you can't choose your neighbors. You can choose your friends, but you can't choose your neighbors. So, being neighboring states forced these countries to forge alliances.